This is a video response to goindeff's question, why he carries, or why do you carry, and I'm going to go ahead and answer why I carry. Um, it's actually two stories. One is why I actually do carry, which is the first story, and the second story is why I even bought a gun. And they're kind of connected, and why I continue to carry. When I was 19 years old, um, I was robbed at gunpoint for my bike. And when I say bike, I mean bicycle, actually mountain bike. And it was the most helpless feeling you will ever have to be robbed for your bike. Now, I remember going down the street and riding down the street to my friend's house. And my friend, he lived a couple blocks away, and I was riding to my friend's house. And some guy drove by. When he drove by, I noticed him. Now, the first time someone drives by, you don't think of it. But when he drove by the second time, I noticed him because he gave me that look. And what he did is, there was some cars in front of him. And he waited for those cars to clear it or make a turn and go. One car turned, one went straight. And as soon as that car went straight, he hit the stop sign and cut a U-turn and came back. And when he came back and he pulled up next to me and pointed a gun at me and told me to get off my bike. Now, if you've ever had a gun pointed at you and ever been robbed before, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't know how you're going to respond to that. And what I responded was to freeze. I froze. I couldn't believe I was being robbed. This guy pointed a gun, and you know the funny thing is the gun looks like the biggest thing you've ever seen. And you know, now that I think back, as I play it back slowly in my mind, the guy had a snub nose 38. That's what it was. And he pointed this gun at me, and he's in this Trans Am, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's robbing me. Now, it must have pissed this dude off when he robbed me that I froze. I just froze. He told me to get off the bike, and I froze. And you could see in his face he was getting mad. Now, when it dawned on me, this dude is robbing me, I listened to what he said. I jumped off the bike. Well, as soon as I jumped off this bike, this dude fired at me. Now, I don't know about anybody else who's ever been shot at, but I know when I got shot at, I hauled ass as quick as I could go. I couldn't believe how fast I could run when this dude fired at me. I was over 2 to 3 fences in a matter of seconds, it seems like, and I was gone. And what pissed me off more than anything else is I was hiding in someone's backyard as this dude walked over, picked up my bike, popped the trunk of that Trans Am. Well, actually, it was like more of a hatchback, and he threw in the back of that hatch and just drove off on my bike. And I was helpless and powerless to do anything. And I'll tell you right now, that's the most worst feeling. Now, my mom didn't make that situation any better by when my mom got there. My mom's response to me was, "Well, why were you riding your bike at night? You shouldn't be riding your bike at night." And the officer that was there looked over at her like, he's allowed to ride his bike where he wants. He shouldn't be robbed. And that right there let me know, you know what? I don't want to be powerless. But as being a human being, the first thing I thought is I let it go. Now, this second story um, is why I actually even purchased a gun and why I continue to carry a gun. I was 22 years old. Now, mind you, I've been carrying for 11 years. And it's a weird thing. I was 22 years old. I weighed 140 pounds. And at the time, I worked at night. And for those who work at night and you don't own a car at the time, it's kind of rough. At the time, I was having little money issues. My brother had crashed my car. I'd owed some other money and stuff like that. And I couldn't afford a car. Let's just make that short and sweet. I couldn't afford a car. And I had to walk to work, so I had to take the bus. And I'm going to tell you right now, it kind of sucks to have to walk in the middle of the night to catch a bus stop that's 10 blocks away. Now, I live in South Florida. There are a lot of bus stops. But the particular bus stop that I had to take is called the Golden Glades, and you have to go, it's not the bus stop. I had to go into another county, and to catch that particular bus of that county, you had to go to this particular bus stop in Dade County. And I had to pass this porn store. Now, passing this porn store, I'm going to tell you right now, there are some particular characters, or real funny characters, that hang out at a porn store at 3 in the morning. Now, I used to pass it every day, and these dudes, what I realized, if you pass and you say nothing or you play passive, they kind of build up the nerve to want to challenge you, not even really challenge you, to try you. And these dudes kept seeing me every day. Now, this might be a humorous story to some people, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. And you'll see what I mean in a minute, or when I'm done with the story. Now, these gentlemen, as I would pass this store one day, I've been passing the store for like a good 4 weeks, going to work because I didn't have a car. And one of the dudes, he walked up and he started. Now, if you see the place, I was on the sidewalk. He's in the front of the store. And he had to walk into in the parking lot to get to the sidewalk, obviously. And when he walked up, first thing he did was, "Hey, boy, come here." That's exactly how he said it. And the weird thing is, I'll never forget it. And I continued to walk. And he started following me, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, I'm getting ready to run. Now, I had a hat, a backpack, and just my 2 legs. That's all I had. And in my backpack, I had my lunch. So I had nothing for this guy to take. And maybe bus money. That was it. Bus money to get to and from work. That was it. And I'm thinking to myself, this dude wants to rob me. Now, this dude started approaching me, and it was just by the grace of God, his friend called him back. "Hey, come back." I guess he called him for whatever reason. The dude turned around and went back. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? If this dude hadn't called him back, this dude would have fucked me up and took whatever I had. So I said, you know what? I had already made the decision there. I'm going to get a gun. Now, at the time, I didn't know the laws of what to do to carry a gun, but I needed to find a shop. So I went to my friend's dad, who had owned a gun. I asked him where he bought his. And that's exactly why I went to go buy mine. Now, the story ain't over. I didn't just buy a gun and the thing was over. The day, because in South Florida, there's a 5-day waiting period to get your gun. So I waited the 5 days, and I got my gun. And the very first day that I carried my gun, something went down. Now, not that I had to fire my gun, but thank God I did have the gun. I'm walking down the same street, except this time I decided to walk on the other side of the street. And these fools are outside again. Now, weirdly enough, these fools are outside. They see me walking across the street, but they don't say anything. But just at that moment, as I'm crossing, there's a car full of dudes. There's 3 of them, actually. And they see me. And they're heading north. I'm heading north, but on the other side of the street. So they see me. They drive up to the first spot they can cut a U-turn, and they cut a U-turn. I'm like, ah, shit. So first thing I thought to do was I took my gun. Now, there's the Glock here. This is my very first gun. This is the gun I actually purchased that day. Well, not that day, but the 5 days prior before that. And these fools, they see me, and I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, I'm going to die. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm going to die. And when these fools see me, I see them rolling up on me. And as they go, I take the back. Gun was in my backpack. Now, I'm going to tell you something. At the time, I didn't have a concealed weapons permit. I didn't even know about that. But just to make a long story short, these dudes rolled past me. And as they rolled past me, I pulled the backpack to the front of me. I got the gun. I racked one in the hole. Now, I had no idea how to really use a gun. I learned to use a gun the day I picked up the gun. They showed me the basics, and I picked it up real quick. And I racked the gun, and these dudes rolled up on me. And if you think a guy can't get raped, you're wrong. Because I thought these fools were there to rob me. That's not what they were there for. These ghouls were all gay. They were all gay. I couldn't believe it. They rolled up on me, and it was the most comical thing to see these dudes looking at me like, we gonna take your ass. And I was in shock. So as soon as I seen these dudes roll up at me and they, hey, and all this other shit, I pulled my gun. Now, as quick as that, like the first story I told you, as quick as I ran, you should see when you pull a gun, how quick these dudes peeled off and left. They peeled off and drove off as quick as that car would go. You know what I mean? I pulled, and it's not an empowering thing. I can't say that. But I was like, whoo, if I didn't have that gun, what would have went down? And that's one of the main reasons I carry a gun, for self-defense. So thank you. My time's up. And going deaf, that's a good question. Thank you.